What's up guys, it's Justin, and today I'm going to be talking about exactly how much I make as a DoorDash driver. I hope you find this kind of video helpful. I certainly did a few months ago when I was trying to decide if DoorDash was something I wanted to do. I started looking at these kinds of videos to find out how much money people were actually making. So whether you're considering DoorDashing yourself or whether you're already DoorDashing and you want to compare how much you're making to how much I'm making, I think that's really fun too. Make sure to stick around, because even if you've already been watching my videos and you know generally how much I've been making, I'm going to talk about my costs as well to let you know really how much I'm taking home on an hourly basis, and I think that's the number that people really want to know. So stick around to the end of the video to find out all about that. But first, I wanted to thank you guys so much because we actually just crossed the 200 subscriber threshold. So thank you so much for that. It started really picking up pace over the last month and a half. I've been getting multiple subscribers pretty much every single day, and I know that doesn't sound like a lot to a lot of people. 200 isn't a big number, but it's a big milestone for me. I'm definitely starting to see the channel swing in the right direction. If you've been here from the beginning, you know I started making personal finance content, and then we kind of transitioned into side hustle content, and then we transitioned pretty much full deep dive into DoorDash content, and I'm okay with that. It really wasn't what I planned at all, but that's what we're doing now because the almighty YouTube algorithm has pretty much decided that if I make a personal finance video or something of that nature, it's gonna get like 20 views, and if I make a DoorDash video, it's gonna get hundreds or even thousands of views. So I may be leaning a little bit into my analytics here, but I think it's what's best for the channel right now. So I'm going to continue to do this and try to ride out this momentum and hopefully see some serious growth over these next couple of weeks and months. So again, thank you so much for 200 subscribers. If you haven't already subscribed, I don't know what you're doing, but it's time to get on that. Subscribe to this channel, at least like this video if you appreciate this kind of content. I'm trying to get you guys the best information possible, so please, I really appreciate you liking the video and leave a comment to let me know how I'm doing as well. So with all of that out of the way, let's get straight into it. So if you've been watching my videos lately, you have a pretty good idea that I've been making anywhere from $20 an hour to maybe $22, $23 an hour. $23 an hour is about the best that I've done so far, and I've heard of people making a lot more, but I don't think my market is necessarily large enough to be making $23, $24, $25 an hour consistently. I have done it multiple times. I've actually cracked the $27 and $28 an hour mark for like a 3 or 4 hour stretch, but I haven't been able to do that for an entire day yet. So right now we're gonna call it between $20 and $22 an hour. Something you guys may not realize is that I've actually done some off-camera driving as well. I kind of just want to test out some theories that I have and see what makes the most money. And I've actually been able to get to $22 an hour a number of times. So that's the number that we're gonna go with today. I can tell you right now, if you have at least medium-sized market around you, again, I don't live up in Nashville. I tell you guys a lot that I'm from Nashville. I am kind of, but I'm a good 45 minutes away from Nashville, so I'm not driving up there every day. Really, I'm not in a large town at all. So if you're afraid of that, if you think, you know what, I don't live in New York, I don't live in Chicago, I don't live in LA, I could never make $22, $23 an hour doing this, you're wrong. You actually can, as long as you play it smart. So you got to have obviously a number of restaurants in your area. If you have one McDonald's in your town, I'm sorry, I don't come from a town that small. It's a little bigger than that. We got plenty of restaurants around here. We got plenty of people around here as well. So $22 an hour is kind of that pace that I set for myself as far as this video goes. That is going to vary quite a bit, obviously, day to day, even hour to hour, and market to market. All of those things are going to have huge effects on your rate. The other side of that, though, is that a lot of the variables that are actually in your control are also going to affect your rate a lot. So the kind of orders that you're accepting, the speed at which you're moving, I know that people don't really think about it, but if you're hustling into and out of restaurants, it is going to help your pace. Maybe not a lot, maybe you only save 10 seconds, 15 seconds by kind of speed walking into O'Charlie's, you never know, but it is going to make a difference, and that is going to help your rate when you're doing that on 20 deliveries. That's going to save you multiple minutes, which is going to make you more money over the course of the day. Another thing that people might not think about is knowing your area. So the DoorDash has an in-app mapping system, but I can tell you right now that there have been a number of times, and I mean a number of times, where the DoorDash mapping system has taken me away that was not the way that I should have gone. It happens all the time, and luckily I'm very familiar with my area, so whenever it pops something up and it's obviously not the way that's best to go to get to the place I want to get to, I know that I can go a different way, and I'll just take that route, and then it'll eventually reroute me to where it knows the way that I'm actually trying to go. But if you are taking the DoorDash mapping advice every single time, you're probably going to hit some higher traffic areas because it doesn't really account for that very much, and that's going to slow you down as well. So again, knowing your area is kind of like knowing which orders to accept, and that it is going to save you time, and saving time in this this job makes you more money. So again, all of this is variable, but for me specifically, I have a large enough sample size to know that $22 an hour is very achievable in my market, and so that is kind of that base rate. And side note, I would like to apologize for this window right here. My dog loves to be in the car and he has an obsession with sniffing the window. So that is why it looks absolutely terrible, and it is my promise to you that if this video gets 10,000 likes, I will have it clean by the next time I make a video, all right? I think we can make that a deal. I think that's a pretty good return on investment for me. So 10,000 likes, window gets clean. If not, it'll be dirty next time as well. Aside from that, when DoorDashers are talking about how much they make, they usually stop there. They say, I make X amount per hour, because that sounds good. That's the highest possible number that they can give you, so they're gonna throw that in their thumbnail. They're gonna say, I make $25 an hour, and that's it. But that doesn't factor in something really important, and that is your costs. And really, when you're looking at it, there are some other things as well, but there are two main costs here. And the first one is incredibly obvious, and it is gas. And I know what you're thinking, gas is, yes, incredibly expensive these days. It is not $2, not $2.50. Luckily in my area, it actually is relatively cheap compared to everywhere else. It's been in the $2.75 to $2.85 range recently. I know a lot of you are probably out there saying, well, where I live, it's $3.50. So lucky you, and you're correct, lucky me. Again, things are variable across market and your costs are part of that. So gas for me, about $2.75 per gallon, we'll say. And you might be surprised, but it's probably not as bad as you think when you start factoring it into your total cost. First of all, I would highly recommend getting something like a Costco membership. Costco is consistently like 10 to 15 cents below the average gas price in my area, so that saves me a lot of money up front. But then when you're driving around, it really just becomes about being smart about which orders you take, and that's gonna lower your gas prices considerably because you're not gonna be driving as far to make less money. And you might be surprised when I tell you this, but realistically, I'm only spending about $2 to $2.50 an hour on gas. You would probably think that driving for an hour that I would burn through like 2 to 3 gallons, but that is not the case at all, because at the end of the day, you're only going from like 3 to 10 mile increments on trips. And even if you're getting 3 trips in an hour, which is not a bad rate, you're really not driving that far. And I really couldn't believe that at first when I was looking down at my tank, but in a 10-hour day, I was only burning through like a half tank of gas, usually at the most, and that was about 8 gallons of gas for my car. So 8 gallons of gas, even if you're calling it $3 a gallon, that's $24, and spread out over a 10-hour day, that's less than $2.50 per hour. So again, you might be thinking it's a $3 or $4 or $5 cost per hour, and it's really not. It's almost half that. It's like $2.50 an hour, sometimes even $2 an hour. So once you factor that in, that brings us down from $22 an hour, so let's say, to $20 an hour. But there is one more very important variable to consider, and that is depreciation of your vehicle. So what I mean by that is that if you're driving a stunning 2022 just off the lot $75,000 car, your car is going to lose so much value for every single mile that you drive. You've heard people say it before. The second you drive that car off the lot, it has lost you a considerable amount of money. And that is the true reality, is that depreciation of a vehicle, like a lot of assets, is so heavy up front in those first couple of years. So when you go from 0 to 100,000 miles, you're going to lose infinitely more value on your car than you do when you go from 100,000 to 200,000 miles. Let's be real, at 200,000 miles, your car is not worth a lot of money at all, regardless of what kind of car it is. So that's how depreciation works. And with that being said, when you're driving for DoorDash, you're going to be putting miles on your car. It's just the reality of it. If you're going out every single day and driving, even if you only drive 100 miles a day, that's going to add up pretty quickly. So for me, I can tell you right now, I have 131,000 miles on my car. It is by no means new whatsoever. I mean, it's a great car. Look around, it's phenomenal in here, but it's definitely not new. And because of that, my depreciation on this vehicle is a lot less. So when you're trying to figure out depreciation on a per hour basis, it's pretty difficult to do, really factoring in that cost. I've watched a number of YouTube videos on this and done a lot of research. And for a car that has 130,000 miles on it and is valued at what my vehicle is valued, the best I can figure out that it's probably somewhere between $2 and $3 per hour that I'm losing as far as the value of this car goes. But we're gonna split the difference and say that it's $2.50 per hour. I think that's a fair number. And when you factor that in, we already dropped from, I believe, $22 an hour down to $20 an hour when you were accounting for gas prices. And let's even call that $19.50 if we're saying $2.50 per hour for gas. Another $2.50 for depreciation brings us all the way down to $17 an hour. And I would really, there are a couple other things as well, but I would really call $17 an hour as the rate that I'm making once you factor out those expenses. Obviously, you could get super specific here and actually track exactly how much you paid for gas that day and then divide and do all that. But really, we're looking at averages here, and on average, I am making $17 an hour for DoorDash. So that lends us to the question of, is this worth it? At $17 an hour, is it worth it to go out and be a DoorDasher? And like everything else in this video, you may be disappointed, but I'm gonna say that that varies. What I mean by that is, yes, $17 an hour is phenomenal for the fact that this is a no skill position. You literally don't have to have any qualifications, any skills whatsoever. You are literally driving around picking up food. It's something that we've all done a million times anyways, going through a drive-through or running into a restaurant. You hardly even have to interact with people. If that's what you're concerned about, really all you're saying is, hey, I'm here to pick up this person's food. That's it. Literally, if you really wanted to say absolutely nothing, you could probably just flash the phone at them and be super rude, but you'd still get away with it, I guess. Regardless, this is really a no-skill position and something that is incredibly enjoyable to do. You could pop a podcast in your ears, you could listen to the radio, whatever you like to do while you're driving around. That's pretty much it, and you're making $17 an hour doing it. So in that sense, is it worth it? Yes. On the other hand, $17 an hour, you could probably go out and find some higher paying positions that have very few qualifications, especially now. Maybe that wasn't the case 4 or 5 years ago, but with the labor shortages that are going on, people are in demand for labor. So you could go to a warehouse, and I know I get these Amazon notifications all the time and get paid $19 or $20 an hour with sign-on bonuses as well. So is that kind of more tempting? Sometimes, maybe. I mean, $17 an hour to $20 an hour, that is a considerable jump, but what you're trading away there is flexibility. So whenever you go to get one of those kinds of jobs, you're obviously going to have a set schedule, and especially right now, people are probably going to be calling you in to work even more because nobody wants to work at all. So from a flexibility standpoint, this is a really amazing position, but if you have the opportunity to go make more money somewhere, that may be worth it to you as well. But I can tell you right now that I am personally doing it because, once again, the YouTube algorithm has decided that DoorDash content is what I make, and if I don't make it, it's not going to promote it. So I'm out here trying to build a business and a brand for myself, and there's a bigger picture goal than just being a DoorDash driver. So if I'm telling you, you know what, maybe this isn't worth it, I am going to keep doing it because I'm trying to build a business around it. And obviously, once I start making some YouTube income as well, that's going to supplement maybe a little bit of a lower rate, and that will most definitely make DoorDash driving worth it for me personally. And you may not be doing that, but I would always encourage you to have a bigger picture in mind. Look for new ways to build income streams, and that's how we're going to start to build up that substantial wealth that I talked about in those first videos that didn't do so well. So with all of that said, thank you guys so much for watching to the end of the video. I hope you found this informational and helpful in some way. If you did, again, I'd really appreciate if you'd like this video, and maybe if you really want to see more DoorDash content, subscribe to the channel. We are on our way to 300 subscribers at this point. We're past that 200 mark. We're on our way to 300. So subscribe to the channel, and again, leave a comment on this video to let me know how I'm doing. I appreciate you guys so much for watching. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you soon.